why would you show what's the logic, I guess, in teaching them how to operate a weapon?
So if some reason somehow he gets into my gun, where my gun's at or something, I mean, I have the lock for it, so he can't, without the key, you can't even use that bitch. But if for some reason someone breaks in and I'm not home or whatever, he needs to use it, that's one. Two, he needs to know that this is like, hey, this is not a toy. This is a real. This is a salud. This is a real thing, and this is how you properly store it and put it away. This is not for fun. This is not for games. Understand that this thing takes lives. You could take your life if you're not careful. So boys, me and Pucho and you guys, well, deal with kids every day now. See kids, see your nephews, see your cousins, nieces, nephews, whatever. Do you think it's okay that kids play with toy guns? And is that an appropriate gift to give somebody? Or, that's not your kid. Do you tell them, hey, I'm going to buy them a Nerf gun or a water gun? Like, think that's appropriate, or it's a whatever thing? Pucho, I'll start with you on this one.
All right. I've been thinking about this a lot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a strong opinion either way. I have very mixed feelings of allowing your kids to play with toy guns. On the other hand, you absolutely should not gift anybody's kid a toy gun. I think that's up to the parent. If they want to introduce guns in their kid's life, by all means. I don't think anybody should be doing some shit like that, personally. I think it's way too political, way too I think it's just too much. Like, I don't know. And that speaks to some of my discomfort with kids playing with guns too. But if it was harmless, then it wouldn't matter, right?
Do you think that you would have more strong opinions if you were actually a gun owner?
Yeah, I mean, if I was a gun owner, I think I would be happy to give my kid a gun.
I could see it going either way, actually. I would think that maybe gun owners might be a little bit more iffy on that, because they're like, I've got an actual damn gun, and you're going to give my child a gun. That means I have a whole extra bit of conversation. I have to, I don't know. I guess if you have a gun in the household, you're already going to have that talk with your kid, right? About, this is not a toy. This is, whatever gun safety spiel you're going to do. But maybe there's some extra considerations if I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, the person you're describing sounds like the most based fucking gun owner. That's like they take the gun ownership very seriously, right? Like, you got to think about like the fucking politician who fucking posed all her kids with those fucking massive fucking rifles in front of the Christmas tree. Yeah. Like, those are the people I'm thinking of, and those kids definitely grew up playing with both real guns and toy guns, guaranteed.
100%. Bro, that's insane.
I know I don't disagree with kids with toy guns, but for me as a gun owner and me having weapons in the house, at a certain age, I intend of showing my son Luca how to operate and handle guns safely, and know that this is not a toy. There is a difference to this and a Nerf fucking gun. Like, I definitely take him to the shooting range and all this spiel. Like, some people are like, oh, that's a little gun hole that you're gonna show your son how to use a gun and open it and clean it and load it and unload it. I was like, the age is the only thing that'll make it wild, right?
Is there an appropriate age then for Nerf guns to actually be given to children? Like, should a 5-year-old be running around with a Nerf gun? Or is their mind not capable of making that distinction between, this is a gun I can aim at someone and shoot them with, but this is not a gun I can aim at someone and pull the trigger on? Yeah, like, is there a certain age you have to like hit where it's like you feel comfortable that they can make that distinction between toy and...
I'm sorry. Comfortable That word's is doing a lot. I don't know about comfortable, but for sure, just as an example, my daughter's afraid. Like she knows the oven and the stove, that shit's hot. Like don't fuck around with it. But she got a little kitchen and she be in there cooking, and she knows that we're cooking in the real kitchen and we're cooking in the fake kitchen. You know, she hands me little fake pieces of food and we make believe that we eating it. It's all part of the game. So even at 2 years old, she knows like I'm fake eating, I'm fake playing. The thing in the kitchen that's actually doing the cooking, this is a make believe version of that. And that thing I'm not gonna fuck around. Like even at 2 years old, right? So
I will,
go ahead.
I will say big shout out to Nerf for never releasing like super realistic looking guns. Like I had a nephew one time that he was playing with this gun that it looked exactly like a real gun. He had even dropped it so it broke off that little like orange tip at the front. It looked like he was just playing with like a 9mm. Like it looked like legitimately like he was playing with like an actual gun.
You got to be careful nowadays because cop pulls up on you, bro. It's not a good look. But
For real. I remember back in the day, Ray had this BB gun. This shit looked like a fucking like a Barella, like right? That shit looked real as shit. It was the edges were like plastic and shit like that. But if anybody, we were running around the block shooting shit with the BB gun and stuff like that. In retrospect, I think about that and I'm like, oh my god, like we could have got gunned down by the police. Like they would have ran up on us and we're running and we would have ran away because we would have gotten scared. Like we would have ran from the cops.
Would you guys have thrown that shit on the ground and just take off, or would it have been like, no, I ain't throwing it on the ground?
I don't think we're gonna throw
this BB gun
somebody's property that costs some hundreds of. I don't know. I would probably throw it on the ground, but I know people would be pissed off at me. I don't know. Sorry, because I guess the question I'm about to ask is a bit of a tangent, but you were touching on it, and I'm actually interested. Why would you show Luca? Well, first off, I guess what age? But even I know it's still gonna be too young for me. Why would you show Luca how to handle a gun? I guess.
So the age, I think it would be maybe around like 12. And it's really depending on what he grasps, right? Like he knows the difference or whatever. I know some kids that their parents at 7, 8 years old or whatever, they know how to operate, they know the calibers, and all this real gun nut shit, right? And I really just think it depends on the child. And for that, like age-wise, it just kind of depends on the child, but I think maybe anything under 7, like it's like that's a little too much. You know what I mean? But and your second question was
like, why would you do it? Even 7, I'm sorry, 7 sounds fucking insane to me because like I would never hand my 7-year-old the fucking kitchen knife. Like I would think it's too destructive. Like I'm like no. Like so the fucking idea that I'm gonna give him a gun, it sounds so fucking nuts to me.
Would you give a 7-year-old a power drill?
I'd be more comfortable with them having a power drill.
Man, that's how you're gonna get out. You're gonna end up with a bunch of holes in your drywall somewhere.
So your
why would you show what's the logic, I guess, in teaching them how to operate a weapon?
So if some reason somehow he gets into my gun, where my gun's at or something, I mean I have the lock for it, so he can't, without the key you can't even use that bitch. But if for some reason someone breaks in and I'm not home or whatever, he needs to use it, that's one. 2, he needs to know that this is like, hey, this is not a toy. This is a real thing, and this is how you properly store it and put it away. This is not for fun. This is not for games. Understand that this thing takes lives. You could take your life if you're not careful. Like and just kind of just show them and teach them, because you got to teach these kids things, because they're gonna be curious. They're gonna be like, oh, well, why I can never touch it. And they're going to be wanting to touch it and find it and shit. And that's what happens. But my main reason is gun knowledge. He needs to know how and operate to use it. no, it's not a toy, and this is only for emergency only. That's it.
Yeah,
unless you want to grow up to be an assassin.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I think you could teach part of that without teaching them how to use the gun. Like you could totally teach your kid, this is how you handle a gun. This is the part you don't touch. Like this is how you put away a gun. This is how you move a gun safely. Like you could teach those things without ever teaching them like how to shoot and shit like that. Like obviously they're gonna know you pull the trigger to shoot. Like everybody fucking knows that. I don't know. Something about that just feels weird. For one, it's almost comical. Sorry, I'm not even trying to, but I find it fucking hilarious. Like that a fucking 7-8-year-old kid is gonna be like, oh, someone's breaking in the house. Let me run to my dad's gun safe and grab the gun. And like that sounds fucking insane to me. Like even adults are not gonna be able to pull that shit off, really. But
Facts.
Beyond, I don't know. I would just be too afraid. It's like, to quote the greatest superhero comic book of all time, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. I don't think that young kids are able to have that responsibility. Like, I think dumb shit will occur. Like
You're right. Some dumb shit will occur.
I'm sorry to smile. I'm just thinking about Uncle Ben over there handing Spider-Man a gat while he's dying on the streets.
Yo, finish that motherfucker.
Go clap that motherfucker. I already taught you how to use it.
That is so big.
Nah, I don't know. I personally feel like
I think it's
I
good.
feel like if you're not going to be carrying the gun, then you probably shouldn't know how to use it.
Oh, well, I carry my gun everywhere I go.
Well, yeah, but you're 30-something years old.
I'm not saying he's going to carry. Or when he turns 20, he might want to.
I know.
But
You're making my argument. I'm saying like when he turns 18 or whatever age, that he could start carrying a gun. Maybe that's around the time that it's okay to teach them how to operate a gun.
by then, it's way too late. Like, he'll get this information from his friends and not really know the full benefit of it. Like, by the time this man goes into, let's say, the 7th grade going to 8, I think maybe that's a proper time to show him, like, hey, this is a gun. This is what this does. This is how you load it, unload it. Never point it at somebody. And always keep your finger off the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. That's it. And it's not a toy. Don't be just pulling it out trying to be a badass. Like, no, don't do that.
Doey, I've got a related question to you. I'm curious what your opinions on this are, especially given that I don't think any of us probably like stuck to this. Do you think that we should be careful about what age should a child start playing games that involve like gunplay? Like, at what point do you go from Mario to GTA? What is the appropriate age for that?
I think there definitely is. You should definitely like Grand Theft Auto. I know, so many kids gravitate towards that game. It's like as soon as they get into like 5th, 6th grade, it's all they want is Grand Theft Auto. They want to race. They want to go to the strip club. It's all the things that they're not supposed to know and do. So it's like drugs. It's like drugs for kids, Grand Theft Auto. So I would say just based off of that, like, yeah, you should definitely watch and observe and have talks with your children about it, because you don't know how that'll end up in the future, if you know what I mean. Just constantly, I played very violent games as a child, but
I was just looking it up. Grand Theft Auto 1 came out in 1997, so I was 11 years old when that game came out, and I definitely owned that game when it first released. Yeah. I think that was probably too young for me to be playing that, honestly. But
it also, the simulation aspect is a lot different. Now you have
100%.
Actual AI that looks like a human and you're shooting them, and there's like a different aspect. The games we were playing looked like actual video games. This shit looks like real life nowadays.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think definitely buying your children weapons and stuff like that, I definitely think that all that stuff comes with a very big responsibility behind it. And I think like just like owning a dog and just like owning you, there's levels to it. Are you old enough to be responsible for this? Like, is that, I think that's a big part. I think guns, I wouldn't teach my child how to shoot a gun until he was in high school. I think around the time you start learning how to drive and all that shit, and like it's like a good age to kind of like start introducing them to aspects of the real world and defending yourself and stuff like that. I think like that's a good age. Maybe 8th grade, the earliest, you know what I mean?
So you're
but
thinking
I'm not-
15?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely after 13, 14, somewhere in the 15 age. I think that's like a healthy area.
I mean, y'all know that I'm down in Texas, so like I definitely had buddies growing up that like age 6, age 7, they were shooting some kind of 22 or something. Like they, usually the first gun you get or the first gun you're using in Texas
22.
would be like some kind of 22. It'd be like one of those like short barrel like Ruger 22s or something like that.
That's
like the
insane.
rifles, and that's what a lot of people do down here. I think it's, I don't know. I don't have any kids. I don't have to worry about this. I ask my sisters and anyone that I'm gifting, any kids that I'm gifting gifts to, I ask their parents before I gift any kind of gifts to them.
Stuff like that, you should ask first. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, for sure.
because you don't know what their household is or what they're agreeing with. But yeah. But
No,
You
that's
want to be respectful.
No, that's fair. I mean, same thing with like a video game. You got to talk to the parent before you gift that video game. Don't give your 14-year-old nephew Battlefield 2042 unless you know that mom and dad are both on board with their 12-year-old playing Battlefield 2042. You know,
Facts.
yeah, sure. But yeah, I don't think so. You know, we're all on the same page. Like giving gifts, let somebody know that hey, I'm want to give your kid a Nerf gun. Yes or no? And everybody has their own age limit or when they think they should you teach them how to use or know what a gun is. So I don't know. I'm still in the premise maybe because I am a gun owner and I have it in my house. No, even with a shotgun, that'd be a little bit harder for Luca to really kind of cock back and load up. But
I mean, at
I
his
think
current
the
age, yes.
yeah.
I think the harder the gun is to use, the better it is to show them, in my opinion. Like, don't show them how to use the easy shit first. Show them how to use some overly cumbersome, hard gun to use. Like, that would be my thought process.
Why is that? Why do you think that's
Because it's just going to be, in my opinion, you show them the easy thing, the pistol, you cock it back and you're ready to go, and the shit is like there. I personally think like that's the easy thing. Like understanding what you're doing, like that big unwieldy gun, it's big and unwieldy because you can kill somebody with it. And I don't know, I just feel like the light pistols take a lot of that away. And it's just like this thing that just makes really loud noises.
Do you think that just because of the size of the gun and how hard it is to deal with, like they won't be curious enough to be like, oh, I still want to see this? Because my thing is like trying to kill their curiosity, right? Because once they see it, they're gonna always try to look for it. And, like I heard stories of kids killing themselves because they found a gun and they shoot, or they kill their little friends. Like they're gonna be curious, and maybe the fact that they have toy guns, they think it's normal to walk around and do it. Maybe that's why it won't be okay for maybe Luca to have toy guns or whatever until he understands that the gun that I have is not a toy, and then maybe afterward he can see the difference. But I don't know.
I've got a statistic that I would be interested in looking up. I wonder if like we're more likely to play with Nerf guns, like kids are more likely to play with Nerf guns in America because we have such a gun like such a love for guns in this country compared to other countries. I wonder if that's just not really a thing in some of these other countries.
What about super soakers? It's technically a gun, right?
Yes, it's shaped like
I
a
think that
gun.
goes to Mateo's point of, do other countries have this many gun toys?
I think super soakers are worldwide.
Yeah,
worldwide?
Right? Of course, they're
Worldwide.
sold worldwide. Do you think they sell in comparable quantities in European countries as America? Is the question.
It's a possibility.
Dude, one of my favorite toys growing up was the revolvers that had the little gunpowder.
Yeah.
the little plastic ones.
Bah, bah, bah. And yo, that shit was fire. It was like a little snub nose, like a 38 special.
Yep.
What age were you playing with that?
I was like 6.
7. And I was walking the streets with that thing, clapping, da, da, da.
Same. I had that exact same one. I had the little ring that you would put in it to like. But should we have been playing with those? I mean that's the big question, right?
No, yeah, I don't think that's why they don't even do them anymore.
You know, my favorite one those was with those cap guns. They had these bombs that you would drop. Do you ever have those? They
The little
looked
silver ones.
Yeah, they were little silver missile looking things, and you would put a cap right at the top, and you drop that shit down, and it was so loud.
Yeah,
you would just drop that by your buddy's foot or something. It sounded like a bomb going off.
What was it called? Like the C420 or some shit like C4 or some shit like that.
I don't even remember. I just vaguely remember that little like missile shaped toy.
Nah, yeah.
It's interesting now, though. Now that I know how to use guns, and I know about revolvers and things like that, when I used that little gun, I remember one time I was holding it not the right way, and I shot, and I burned my hand.
Damn.
Like the gunpowder and the gas, it burned my hand, and that's something that could happen on a revolver if you don't hold it correctly. I just thought it was interesting that like I learned kind of a gun lesson there.
I've still got a scar somewhere on my hand from like the first time that I shot. I think it was like a 38 or something like that. And
You shot yourself?
no, it bit me. The hammer when it came back, I had my hand too high, and so the hammer like caught me and just had blood dripping out. I was like, I guess I'm done shooting for now.
That's why I like the Glocks, because they come with different backing, I guess plates or whatever, and it could give you a wider grip or a shorter grip or just more grip in general. And it doesn't have a hammer on it like how the revolvers do. You slide back, but it does slide. And it only bit me once, and I adjusted my hand correctly how it needs to be sitting on a gun, and from that day on, I haven't had an issue.
Yep.
But to all the fans out there, if you stuck around this far, 2 hours and 2 minutes into this episode, I appreciate you. No?
No, we did the little sound check production
It never
stuff.
plays out like that, but good try.
Why is that not playing out?
Because like we start recording, it's 2 hours 2 minutes now, but maybe we wasted a little bit of time in there. Maybe we put a little thing in there
For the
a little intro
Patreons.
music.
There's the
The
intro
Patreons.
music.
It's like you're off, man. Just don't reference the time.
We got to fade in. We all live in different like cities, so like the time dilation difference between like
Yeah, no, they're being dicks. But if you made it this far, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell if you didn't notify you when the hot videos is dropping hot and ready. I love it when I say that shit. Gives me a little happiness. We're on all platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, IG, Facebook, Podbean. We're on there. Like, share, subscribe. Can't say it enough. Please comment. Pucho wants to see the comments. Mateo wants to go back and forth with certain comments. And always, don't forget, go one up yourself.
And read books.
I thought he was about to Michael Scott us. I thought Tony was just
Yeah.
going to keep like stretching out that outro. And don't forget,
Peace.
every time, whenever, forever.
However,
However,
I love Michael
Let
Scott.
Whenever.
people go, guys. Let them go.